Hello again, my name is Daniel, and welcome to my channel. I'll be creating videos about faith, exploring theology, testimonies, history, and everything else that's related to Christianity. So, why don't you join me, and let's dive in. Hello again, and welcome to another video. We are going to start a series on Easter. So, Easter is a couple of weeks away, and we're going to look at the real meaning of Easter and the real purpose of Easter. So, obviously, most people know that Easter is all about chocolates and eggs and the Easter bunny and all those type of things. And that's great. And we do that as well in our house, and we have eggs and chocolate, lots of chocolate, too much. But the real reason Easter exists is the death and resurrection of Jesus. So Jesus died on Good Friday and then rose again on the third day on Easter Sunday. And that's the real meaning of why we celebrate Easter. Now, there is obviously lots of people that say, well, Easter is appropriated from a pagan holiday, and it was originally a celebration of pagan deities like Ishtar and Ostara, but that is actually not the case. There's actually no historical or cultural connection between Christian celebration and the ancient Near East celebration. So it was not appropriated, and even Easter eggs, it was claimed that they were a pagan decoration and pagan practice, but it was actually Edward the Longshanks in the 13th century that first decorated hundreds of eggs and handed them out to friends and family in Easter. But regardless, the reason why Christians celebrate Easter is bigger than Christmas, I think, because yes, Christmas was the celebration of the birth of Jesus, but the real turning point in history and the real reason why we celebrate our faith is because Christ died for the world and then rose again on the third day. So we'll be doing a few video series as we lead up to that. And I guess the main and most famous verse that relates to Easter, in my opinion, is John 3:16, where he says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, so that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life." And yeah, Christ made that claim, and that he's the only way. The only way that we can get salvation is through Christ. And it's a really important part of the calendar year. And not only that, but we have a few things leading up to that. So we've got Palm Sunday coming up. So Palm Sunday is the triumphant entry into Jerusalem. So Jesus came in on a donkey and was welcomed, and crowds were cheering him as he came in. And then through that, he had the Last Supper a few days later with his disciples, and obviously that was the last time they had a meal together, and that is what spurned on communion, which communion is the breaking of bread and drinking of juice, which is a representation of Christ's broken body and the blood he poured out for the forgiveness of sins. And then, yeah, a week after that, Palm Sunday, triumphant entry, is when everyone turned on him, and the religious people of the day, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they didn't like who he was and had him crucified. And he died on the cross. And from there, he was placed in a tomb. And then 3 days later, that tomb was empty, and he rose again and appeared to hundreds of people after that in the book of Acts and the last chapters in the Gospels as well, just to show everyone his resurrection. So, and it's interesting as well because going back to that triumphant entry, people thought that, well, the religious leaders, the prophecies that they thought were going to be fulfilled were of a conqueror, and God would send someone down to conquer the Roman Empire and destroy it that way. But that's not what Jesus did. He came as the lowest of low to save everybody. And he didn't come as a king. He came as a servant, and he willingly gave up his own life so that we could have freedom. And that's what I love about Easter. It's that amazing celebration of honoring what God did for us 2,000 years ago and the sacrifice that he made so that people could be free and so that people could be saved through him. And it's not you don't have to do anything. No matter what you have done in your life, no matter how bad you think you are, God died for everybody. And there's nothing you can do, no works that you can do to achieve that salvation. That was a free gift by him, and that's why he died. And yeah, I can't wait to get into this series with you, and we'll go through in a few videos on, yeah, obviously we'll go through Palm Sunday, and then we'll go through the communion, Last Supper, and then we'll go through the death of Jesus, and then the resurrection after that. So I'm looking forward to doing this video series as we lead up to Easter and can really celebrate what it means to be a Christian and the sacrifice that God made to save us. And yes, we can still have fun with the Easter bunny and chocolates and all that goes with it, but it's important to remember the real reason why we celebrate Easter during this time. Thanks. Looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.